Hello everyone and welcome to a Seduce Me episode, well mini episode, as part of, the little set package that I got in terms of, the Seduce Me extra episode. So yeah, so far we've done Eric's and James in, the last previous ones. And now we are on to Diana's, which is, instead of an episode, it's actually a prologue, I think. I think it's a prologue, yes. Anyway, it's called A Succubus's Sacrifice. So I'm pretty sure we are going to get a little bit of more detailed explanation on that timeline between, when she, I guess, before she arrived in the human world and in her pursuit of, after the boys disappeared and I don't know. Anyways, whatever. This is what we're here for. We're gonna find out once we start this. So let's get right to it. Anyways, oh my god, it's a little bit buggy, so I don't know, for some reason it didn't let me type in the name. I thought it was my keyboard acting up, but it wasn't. We're gonna start this over again. Okay, I didn't actually read any of the dialogue, so you see the skip button, it's all highlighted, which means it's old dialogue, but still. Okay, I never would have believed it. No matter how many times I looked back on it, I could never have imagined it. Imagine what? Imagine dragons? My entire world was now a world full of magic and wonder, and it was all because of one person, Diana, a succubus. Okay, so where is this timeline? Is this like when we chose to romance her? Diana was the one who caused my entire world to change. She was the one who brought the boys to my home, the inciting incident of the change in my life. She showed me magic and life beyond the human world, and I would forever be grateful to her for that. Okay. However, one fact still haunted me. Why, Diana was also the one who murdered my grandfather. Yes, we found that out. In an act of desperation, she had to come to the human world and sacrifice my grandfather's life to get there. It was a choice she obviously didn't want to make, but one she had no choice in the matter on. I felt both pity for her and a small form of torment from the situation. My grandfather was a man I loved very much. He raised me like his own daughter, and I didn't get the chance to even say goodbye. It was a tragedy. Yes, tragic. Still, I had to understand why. My curiosity desperately clung to the word. Was there truly no other way? I don't know. Dinah, let's go to my grandfather's grave. Okay?
What? Why?
I thought we went there in terms of the first Seduce Me game, and we found her there, and then we got the backstory there. I don't know. I want to visit him. Come with me. Okay, just come.
Very well.
Yeah, maybe that's the timeline. Diana was surprisingly obedient despite being the one to place my grandfather in the grave. She had already proven to me her regret and sorrow, but I could tell that she was holding back something. What? I needed to know what it was and why my grandfather had to die for her. There had to have been something else that she could have done. Here we are once again. We traveled in silence to the graveyard once more, where my grandfather was buried 6 feet under. The stone slab was as clean as ever, and no one was around. It was only fitting, as the cloudy sky above let rain fall upon us and soft mist enveloped the area. It was almost picturesque to stand in the graveyard with the atmosphere the weather was giving us, right? Still, we stood at the foot of the grave, staring at the engraved letters in stone. I held a black umbrella over my head as Diana conjured a clear umbrella between her arm and side. It's like what's it called? In Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. They use their wand and make a little invisible umbrella. As I looked over to Diana, I watched as she formed a vase with lilies in her hands, cupping it gingerly and becoming lost in thought. Diana, what's up, girl?
Yes, dear?
What's on your mind? What you thinking about? Can you tell me what happened? Yeah, exactly what happened? Diana stared at me in disbelief and confusion. I mean, we got the story 10 billion times, but let me just hear it again.
What happened?
Yes, what happened? From the beginning, I want to know everything that happened and why he had to die. Are you gonna tell me about the muse and all them shit like that? By the way, this is a very nice CG. I like the style. Diana looked back to the grave and pressed her lips together into a fine line before nodding and closing her eyes. I braced myself for a story that I probably didn't want to hear, but it was one I had to barrel through in order to quell the curiosity in my heart, right? I must know the truth.
When I was born, I was brought up to be the perfect princess. I was given lessons on every subject known to the demon world, and studied almost endlessly on harnessing my powers and ruling over a kingdom that would one day be mine. As I grew up, I began to master my powers and eventually became known as the most powerful succubus in the demon world. By the time I was old enough to be, as humans say, a teenager, I was making armies bow to me in allegiance and obedience.
Okay, yes, we get the idea. I smiled a bit, seeing her lips curl up in a nostalgic grin. I could practically imagine it.
Down! Bark!
Nice. What a way to pass time.
Amazing. That's incredible.
Really? Thank you, Daddy.
Sir, a message.
By the way, you're getting married off to the prince because the demon lord wants to.
Huh. Hand it here.
Yes.
Father?
Uh-huh.
Well, I have to say, I'm very shocked.
You sound pleasantly surprised rather than shocked.
Dear?
What's going on?
We're gonna marry you off.
The Demon Lord is willing to consider our offer.
Yes.
Are you certain?
Uh-huh.
What offer?
To marry you off.
An offer that will save this kingdom is there. A marriage proposal.
Yes.
A marriage? Between me and one of his sons?
Yep.
Yes, Azair. Are you upset with us?
She's like, no, this is the duty of a princess.
No, I understand.
Yep.
You do?
I do you now.
If I can help this kingdom by getting married, then I will do it.
We're proud of you, dear. We're so happy you understand.
Oh, if only you knew.
When I learned of my engagement, I became determined. I was confident in myself that I could protect my kingdom and become both a perfect bride and a perfect queen. My parents met with the Demon Lord and eventually came back with the name of my intended.
And it was James, or it was Maestro, yes. James, yep.
Reisrael, the eldest son. It only made sense. He was the one in line to take his father's throne, and I was the only child of my family's kingdom. For a while, anyway.
Yes, 'cause she got a baby sister, but that didn't turn out so well. A while. Diana's smile brightened a bit more as she closed her eyes and chuckled to herself.
In my kingdom, the rulers are charged with only giving birth to one child per generation, to ensure that there is no slaughter for the throne. However, as I reached adulthood, I was told that I was no longer going to be an only child.
Yep.
Mother, father, you wish to speak to me?
Azair, we have something very important to tell you.
We're gonna be a big sister.
Important? What is it?
Isaiah, I'm pregnant.
She's just so, like, a matter of fact about it. She's like, I'm pregnant.
What? You're pregnant?
Yep.
Yes, you will be having a sibling.
I was astonished. I didn't know how to act to such news. I knew of our family's traditions, so I was stunned. I was going to have a younger sibling?
Please, say something.
This is great, Mother.
Finally, as it all settled in, I was overjoyed. The thought of having a younger sibling was too exciting to hold in. When I would be in the Demon Lord's castle being a queen, my parents would be able to bring up a new heir to take my place.
Which is great for a while.
I'm so happy! This is wonderful! I remember the joyful looks on my parents' faces when I told them of my excitement. I would later learn that the baby would be a girl. A younger sister.
What will her name be? Orabelle.
Orabelle. I was given the option to name her, and my parents accepted it.
That's a beautiful name. Yes. Beautiful. Dinah smiled and nodded in agreement. Her eyes painted her longing perfectly in her expression.
I cannot wait to see her. When I left, she was still within my mother's womb.
You left before Orabelle was born? Yep.
Yes, I had little choice in the matter. What? What do you mean the wedding is dissolved?
Because your fiancé and his brothers all ran away to the human world.
I'm sorry, Princess. The Demon Lord's sons have disappeared.
Yep.
This can't be. No, I must... I must speak to the Demon Lord.
Yes.
Princess?
Mm-hmm.
I must speak to him!
Now. Immediately.
When I learned of the boy's disappearance and the possibility of my marriage dissolving, I panicked and rushed to the Demon Lord, begging to allow me to find his sons and bring them back.
Yep, and you all know what happened.
I was thankful that he agreed, and I spent every waking moment I had trying to find their trail. When I did, I ripped it open and came through myself without a second thought. I still remember that day.
Okay.
A gate spell. How could I have been so blind? They didn't just vanish. They left this plane for the human world. Damn it!
Mm-hmm.
My princess. What should I tell the Demon Lord?
Tell him I found out where his sons have gone. Once you deliver the message, go back to Lilith Castle.
Well, he's not gonna give a shit about that.
Back to the castle? But what about...
I'm going to the human world alone. You need to send word to them and tell them what happened.
But what will I say?
You just say that Diana is gonna BRB to the human world to try to get the sons back, and you just hang tight there.
Tell them their daughter is protecting them. If they demand an explanation, tell them everything. Now go.
Okay, bye.
As you wish, Your Highness.
Okay.
All right. Time to find my husband.
Mm-hmm. And your in-laws.
I recast the spell and found myself entering a hospital where your grandfather was visiting. As the gateway closed, your grandfather took his last breath and passed away before he even realized what was happening.
Wait, so... who is he visiting in the hospital then? What? How could he have not known?
I was draining his life energy to maintain the connection to him through the gate spell. I overpowered his will to fight back and locked his focus so he couldn't see me coming.
Oh, okay. Well, that's underhanded, right? That is a little underhanded.
That's the instincts of a demon. We strategize and overpower our targets so that we can take advantage of them, human or demon.
Okay. Diana let out a sad sigh before gripping the vase in her hands.
The moment he took his last breath was the moment I realized what I had done and became racked with guilt. I ran as far as I could and wallowed in what I had done to that man, questioning everything I was doing and why I was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But soon enough, I became filled with purpose once more. I had to find the boys. I had done too much damage to try and turn back, so I had to go all of the way. I shook my grief out and returned to my hunt.
Yep. Basically, it's like, well, you went balls deep now, so you just go big or go home. Then you found me, yes.
Then I found you, dear.
Yep. And we all know how that went. Diana looked to me, her eyes full of guilt and self-reflection.
I can never take back what happened. If there was any way I could undo what I had done, then I would. I'm truly and deeply sorry.
Yeah, I know. I know you feel bad. And you know what? I'm okay with that. What's done is done. It's okay, at least now I know, right? Diana was genuine enough to open up to me about the ordeal. It was almost like a heavy weight had been lifted off of her shoulders just from the sigh that escaped her lips at my reply. As she looked back to the grave, she knelt down and placed the vase on the gravestone.
I wonder what my parents will think.
Huh. You wouldn't say. I'm sure they'll understand, Diana.
Well, I'll get to see them soon enough, I suppose, whenever I return.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And Orabelle. Of course, Orabelle. Diana's smile returned to the sound of her sister's name.
And Orabelle. I'll finally be able to meet her.
Mm-hmm. However, despite the words that rang out from her lips, her hand gently grasped mine.
I still have more to teach you, so I will not be leaving yet.
Okay, so this is probably the lull between from the deal that we made with Diana when she was gonna drop us into the pit until now, I guess. So it's just like, yeah. I felt glad that she was willing to stay and keep teaching me despite what had happened, while it was her punishment for killing her for killing my grandfather to tell me everything she knew. She was willing to stay and keep her word instead of running back to where her family was. Exactly. I was a bit honored, yes. I'm glad. Thank you.
Who knows? Maybe I'll bring you back with me so you can meet my parents and sister as well.
Well, you're gonna end up doing that, but it's not gonna be as pleasant of a visit. Really?
For a while, anyway. I'll have to take care of the Demon Lord, since I failed to find his sons.
Right. I'm sure you'll be fine. Okay. And that's it. Yep, that is it. So yeah, just a little bit of more backstory on the specifics on what happened when she first came into the human world looking for, you know, the sons or, you know, our bays at the time. So yeah, there's that. The Succubus sacrifice. I don't know. This is supposed to be the timeline in from like the first game-ish, leading up to like the second game. But again, I feel like we've already heard this story so many times that it's just like, yeah, we know, yeah, and then we just get the more specific details and the events actually happening and playing in front of us. But anyways, regardless, there is the Succubus to sacrifice, which is Diana's little episode story that we get. So yeah, there's that, and then we still have the beach episode, and I said we would leave the holiday one to when the holidays actually roll around. So yeah, I don't know. Do you guys want to see the beach episode now regardless? Because I was planning on like maybe doing it, like maybe like, you know, releasing it over the summer. But if you guys want to see it now, I'm like, I don't have any problems with that. But like, I still really want to save the holiday one for the holidays. So yeah, I don't know, leave a comment about whether you want to see the beach episode or not. And yeah, until then, I will see you guys in another Let's Play. So, bye!